Just the name conjures images of grandeur and tragedy. This ship, once a symbol of human ingenuity and ambition, now rests silently on the ocean floor, a monument to overconfidence and the unforgiving power of the sea. The story of the Titanic continues to fascinate people around the world, more than a century after its sinking. Why are we so drawn to this maritime disaster? Perhaps it's the stark contrast between the ship's opulence and the tragic fate that awaited its passengers. Maybe it's the stories of heroism and sacrifice that emerged from the chaos, or perhaps it's the enduring mystery surrounding the sinking itself. Whatever the reason, the Titanic story is a powerful reminder of our own mortality and the capricious nature of fate. It's a story that continues to resonate with people of all ages and backgrounds. The Titanic story is not just about a shipwreck, it's about human ambition, technological hubris, and the courage and resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable tragedy. It's a story that deserves to be remembered and retold, not just as a historical event, but as a cautionary tale for generations to come. Constructed in Belfast, Ireland by the Harland and Wolff shipyard, it was designed to be the epitome of luxury and safety. The Titanic, along with its sister ships Olympic and Britannic, was owned by the White Star Line, a company determined to dominate the transatlantic passenger trade. The ship was divided into three classes, with first-class passengers enjoying unparalleled opulence, including a swimming pool, gymnasium, and Turkish bath. The Titanic was equipped with the latest technologies, including wireless telegraphy, electric lighting, and watertight compartments, which were supposed to make it practically unsinkable. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic embarked on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York City, carrying a diverse group of passengers and crew, from wealthy industrialists and socialites to immigrants seeking a new life in America. The ship was captained by Edward Smith, a veteran seaman with an impeccable record. The Titanic set sail amidst great fanfare, a symbol of human progress and the height of technological achievement. Little did anyone know that this symbol of modernity would soon meet its tragic end. The Titanic's journey began smoothly, with passengers enjoying the luxurious amenities. The grand ship was a marvel of modern engineering, boasting opulent dining rooms, a swimming pool, and even a squash court. Passengers from all walks of life reveled in the splendor, unaware of the fate that awaited them, and the thrill of being aboard the world's largest ship. The Titanic was not just a vessel, it was a symbol of human ingenuity and ambition. As it sailed across the Atlantic, it carried with it the hopes and dreams of over 2,000 people. But on the night of April 14, 1912, tragedy struck. The calm, starry night belied the danger that lurked in the icy waters ahead. The ship's crew remained vigilant, but the vast expanse of the ocean made it difficult to spot hazards in time. At 11:40 p.m., while sailing through the icy waters of the North Atlantic, the Titanic struck an iceberg on its starboard side. The collision sent a shudder through the ship, and those who were awake felt the jolt. The iceberg tore a series of gashes along the hull, compromising the ship's watertight compartments. The impact, though not felt by everyone on board, was enough to breach the ship's hull in several places. Water began to pour in at an alarming rate, flooding the lower decks and causing the bow to dip. The ship's design, once hailed as revolutionary, now proved to be its Achilles heel. Chaos and confusion ensued as the gravity of the situation became clear. Passengers scrambled to find life vests and make their way to the deck. The once orderly and elegant ship descended into pandemonium as fear took hold. The seemingly unsinkable ship was taking on water rapidly, and the crew, though well-trained, struggled to cope with the unfolding disaster. They worked tirelessly to maintain order and assist passengers, but the sheer scale of the catastrophe overwhelmed their efforts. Distress signals were sent out, but the closest ship, the Carpathia, was hours away. The radio operators continued to send out SOS messages, hoping against hope that help would arrive in time. The cold, dark ocean seemed to stretch endlessly, isolating the Titanic in its moment of need. As the Titanic began to sink lower in the water, the order was given to launch the lifeboats. The crew worked frantically to lower them, but the process was slow and fraught with difficulties. Many lifeboats were launched only partially filled, a tragic waste of precious space. However, there were not enough lifeboats to accommodate all of the passengers and crew. The ship had been equipped with lifeboats for only about half of those on board, a decision based on outdated maritime safety regulations. This oversight would cost many lives. This, coupled with the women and children first protocol, meant that many men, particularly those in steerage, were left to face their fate. The lower-class passengers who had been enjoying their own modest accommodations now found themselves at a dire disadvantage. In the early hours of April 15th, the Titanic sank beneath the waves, taking with it over 1,500 souls. The ship's stern rose high into the air before finally disappearing into the depths, leaving behind a scene of devastation and heartbreak. The Carpathia arrived on the scene shortly after and rescued the survivors, who were left to grapple with the trauma of the disaster and the loss of loved ones. The survivors, huddled together in the lifeboats, were brought aboard the Carpathia, where they received medical attention and comfort. The tragedy of the Titanic would leave an indelible mark on history, a somber reminder of the fragility of human life and the hubris of man. The sinking of the Titanic remains one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history, a tragedy that has captivated the world for over a century. Even after more than a century, many questions remain unanswered, leaving historians and enthusiasts alike searching for more clues. The official inquiries that followed the disaster pointed to a series of contributing factors, including human error, design flaws, and unfortunate circumstances. However, the exact chain of events that led to the sinking is still debated by historians and experts, with new theories emerging over time. One of the biggest mysteries is the speed at which the Titanic was traveling when it struck the iceberg. Was it recklessly fast or simply standard for the era? Some believe the ship was going too fast for the icy conditions, a decision driven by a desire to set a speed record or to arrive early. Others argue that the speed was not unusual for the time, and that the real issue lay in the ship's inability to maneuver quickly enough to avoid the iceberg. The role of the crew, particularly the lookouts, is also scrutinized. Were they adequately trained and equipped for their crucial task? Why was the iceberg not spotted sooner? Was it a matter of poor visibility, or were there other factors at play? Was there a delay in relaying the warning to the bridge? Communication failures could have played a critical role in the disaster. The insufficient number of lifeboats is another point of contention. Why did such a grand ship carry so few lifeboats for its passengers and crew? While the Titanic technically met the safety regulations of the time, these regulations were outdated and inadequate for a ship of its size. It was woefully unprepared for a disaster of this magnitude, leading to a tragic loss of life that could have been mitigated with better planning. Why were more lifeboats not provided? Was it a matter of aesthetics, cost, or simply a gross underestimation of the risks involved? Did class divisions play a role in who lived and who died? The stories of survival and loss often reflect the stark realities of social hierarchy. These questions continue to haunt our understanding of the tragedy as we seek to honor the memory of those who perished. The Titanic's sinking was not just a single catastrophic event, it was a series of unfortunate decisions and circumstances that culminated in disaster. It was a confluence of circumstances, human errors, and unfortunate timing, all of which combined to create one of history's most enduring mysteries. As we continue to explore and analyze the Titanic's story, we are reminded of the fragility of human endeavors and the enduring quest for answers. The sinking of the unsinkable Titanic exposed the limitations of early 20th century technology. This tragic event highlighted the overconfidence in human engineering and the unforeseen vulnerabilities that lay beneath the surface. While the ship was considered a marvel of engineering, its design had flaws that contributed to its demise. The Titanic was the largest and most luxurious ship of its time, boasting advanced features and opulent interiors, yet it was not invincible. The steel used in the ship's hull, while strong, was brittle at low temperatures, making it more susceptible to fracturing upon impact with the iceberg. This material weakness was a critical factor in the ship's rapid sinking after the collision. The watertight compartments, designed to contain flooding, proved ineffective as the water rose above their bulkheads. These compartments were intended to keep the ship afloat, even if multiple sections were breached, but the design did not account for the sheer volume of water that would flood in. This design flaw, coupled with the fact that some of the compartments were not completely sealed, allowed water to spill from one to another, hastening the ship's sinking. The cascading effect of water moving from compartment to compartment sealed the ship's fate. Furthermore, The lack of adequate lifeboats and the absence of radar technology, which was not yet invented, played a crucial role in the scale of the tragedy. The ship carried lifeboats for only a fraction of its passengers and crew, leading to a catastrophic loss of life. The Titanic's sinking served as a harsh reminder that even the most advanced technology of the time was no match for the unforgiving power of nature. The disaster underscored the need for humility and caution in the face of natural forces. The disaster prompted significant changes in maritime safety regulations. The world recognized the necessity of improving safety measures to prevent such a tragedy from occurring again. Following the sinking, the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, or SOLAS, was established in 1914, mandating stricter lifeboat regulations, requiring 24-hour wireless operation on passenger ships, and establishing the International Ice Patrol to monitor icebergs in the North Atlantic. These measures aimed to enhance the safety of maritime travel and ensure that the lessons learned from the Titanic disaster would not be forgotten. While the Titanic's sinking was undoubtedly influenced by technological limitations, human error played a significant role in the tragedy. The ship's captain, Edward Smith, has been criticized for his decision to continue sailing at a relatively high speed through known iceberg territory. Some historians argue that pressure to maintain schedule and impress passengers may have influenced his judgment. The crew's failure to adequately spot the iceberg in time remains a point of contention. While the lookouts were not equipped with binoculars, which may have aided in earlier detection, their vigilance that night has been questioned. Additionally, the misinterpretation of distress signals and communication breakdowns between the crew members on the bridge and the wireless operators contributed to the chaotic response to the collision. The human element, with its inherent fallibility, played a tragic role in the events that unfolded that fateful night. The sinking of the Titanic serves as a stark reminder that even with advanced technology, human error can have catastrophic consequences.